Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are strapping on our philosophical armor and diving into something truly unique. The world of the video game Luciferianism. If you've heard whispers about this game, you know it's not just an RPG. It's a theological, psychological, and, well, entirely custom cosmology rolled into one massive piece of playable satire.
That's the perfect description, really. We have a mountain of sources here, and they describe the game less as pure entertainment and more like a strange religious poem in game form.
Right.
So our mission today is to understand how this game blends these really demanding mechanics. We're talking roguelike difficulty, souls-like open world design with deep cuts of high theology and, modern internet culture.
Exactly. Our mission is to unpack this overwhelming stack of sources and pull out the core insights. The surprising sincerity may be hidden in the absurdity, and the creator's argument that you can build a new religion, or at least critique the old ones, through gameplay.
Okay, so at a high level, the game bills itself as a roguelike, souls-like open world RPG set in a labyrinthine maze of artifice.
That phrase itself is something. Maze of artifice.
It really is. And for those maybe unfamiliar, roguelike implies, intense difficulty, high replayability, and souls-like suggests demanding combat, environmental storytelling. The sheer scope is staggering, almost 300 levels.
300? Wow.
Yeah, spanning everything from temples to cyberpunk cities. And get this, every single voice line is fully generated by Elevenlabs AI Voice Robots.
Okay, that's another layer entirely.
Yeah.
And crucially, the philosophical anchor here is huge. It's framed as a philosophical commentary on Nietzsche's Death of God.
Right. And the creator isn't shy about his claims either. He views the game as the definitive source for the Luciferian Testament, basically positioning himself as the ultimate authority on this new religious concept.
That's a bold claim for a game developer.
It's pretty unprecedented. He essentially argues that by exploring and interpreting the mechanics of the game, you are studying his religion. He also provided this really fierce opinion on content restriction, comparing efforts to limit his freedom of reach online to limiting George Washington's pamphlet distribution back in the day.
So right out of the gate, it positions the game as this act of subversive, maybe fundamental authority.
Exactly. It sets the stage perfectly for a world where every established authority, be it spiritual or mechanical, is designed to be questioned or, subverted.
Okay, so let's unpack this labyrinth, starting with the very first screen. How does it begin?
Well, the initial framework itself is the first piece of commentary. The world is a labyrinthine maze of artifice. That suggests a constructed reality, immediately inviting you, the player, to question existence.
Tapping into that whole simulation theory interest that's around a lot now.
Precisely. You are not in a natural world, you are in a conscious script.
And that feeling of a conscious script, you said it permeates the user interface. That's where it gets really weird, turning clicks into something existential.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. The way the game uses the UI to engage with theology and maybe predestination. When you try to start the game, the usual start game button, it's replaced by just one word: fool.
It insults you immediately.
Right. It's immediate psychological warfare. If you click it, the game tells you that you must give up your soul to play. It forces a literal yes-no choice.
So the menu becomes an altar.
Exactly. Simple navigation turns into a spiritual transaction. And if you try to back out to the menu after starting, the game says, I already took your soul, why not just end it?
Wow. Okay.
And the final insult, trying to quit the game prompts, you'll die if you quit the game.
That completely subverts the player contract, right? The menu is supposed to be the safe space, the anchor to reality.
But here, it's spiritually dangerous. It forces you to confront your agency within what feels like a deterministic system. It's asking, if you are already fated to play, what does your choice to continue truly mean?
This concept of cosmic futility, does it carry through into the gameplay itself?
Oh, absolutely. It's hammered home by the biggest mechanical objective. The player is basically designed, mechanically, to move toward killing God.
And God isn't some abstract concept here. He's a literal boss fight.
Indeed. He is a big, red, towering man standing 1,000 feet tall with an HP bar that nearly maxes out the numeric limit. He's the ultimate expression of power and scale.
Okay.
But the massive irony, he can only be killed by one specific weapon, either Buddha's gun or, strangely, Captain Hook's gun.
Wait, Captain Hook's gun?
Yeah. So Western divinity can only be slain by either Eastern spiritual transcendence or pirate-themed anarchy, I guess.
Yeah.
The game makes you find this absurd path to ultimate violence.
But what happens when you actually do it? What's the consequence? This is where the Nietzschean void comes in.
Exactly. Here's where the critique lands hardest. The consequence of God-slaying isn't some glorious new beginning or the destruction of the cosmos. Once you succeed, you're immediately teleported to a dark, nighttime version of the kingdom of God.
Okay.
And our sources emphasize there is no escape, no objectives, just profound, empty silence. Nothing.
So you're just stuck.
Pretty much. And because there's no objective and no escape, you're eventually forced to restart to the main menu.
So the ultimate victory leads directly back to that spiritual transaction, the giving up your soul at the start, the loop.
It's the game's silent sermon. The punishment for divinity slaying isn't flames or cosmic scolding, it's absence. The silence and darkness literalize Nietzsche's warning about the void following the collapse of meaning.
You kill the source of objective meaning, and all you gain is the obligation to start the loop over.
Right. It raises a huge question, especially for a roguelike. The whole point of the genre is progress, mastery. But if the grand narrative climax is pure futility, doesn't that fundamentally contradict the player's agency within the genre?
It definitely forces you to consider what progress even means in this context. If the macro level is futile, maybe the micro level holds the truth.
That's a good way to put it.
Let's move from cosmic destruction then to institutional decay and organized hypocrisy. How does the game handle established religious institutions?
Yes. A great example is found in the Rose Quarter. There's this gigantic Gothic cathedral. On the surface, you meet the Lady.
Okay.
She preaches absolute purity, saying things like, "I am the water purifies." Sounds like the benevolent symbol of the institution, right?
Seems like it, but I'm guessing, given this game, the surface is a lie.
Always. Below the cathedral, down in the dungeons, the player discovers the church's dark secret. Guards are holding women in cages.
Cages.
Yeah, and our sources specify they're wearing swimsuits, weirdly.
Yeah.
While the guards deliver these long speeches based on what the creator called red pill MRA dating manifesto stuff.
Wow, that's specific.
Highly specific satire. These are misogynistic talking points about manipulative power dynamics, and crucially, how pity is the worst of all human vices.
So the lady's charismatic purity is just a front for institutional cruelty and a philosophy based on rejecting empathy entirely.
Exactly. And what happens when the player tries to inject some morality into this? Tries to be the hero?
Let me guess. Nothing good.
Whether you kill the guard and free the women or just leave them there, the game explicitly tells you the choice yields no gain or benefit, no XP, no loot, no plot advancement.
So it turns the moral choice into an act of utter futility.
Right. The satire mocks the human institutions that take pure belief and twist it to justify systemic corruption and, well, coldness.
Okay, now let's jump from that dungeon up to heaven. You mentioned heaven earlier. It's reached after completing the Sophia quest.
That's right. And there's a funny note from the creator that he wrote that quest on election day. And Sophia gleefully says, "Well, I won that election."
Okay. And heaven itself sounds incredibly sterile.
It's perfection as, like, municipal zoning. Gigantic white buildings, tightly cut green grass, everything is repeatedly labeled Kingdom of Heaven, Garden of Eden, Paradise.
Like signs everywhere.
Yeah, it's a bureaucracy of bliss. And here, in the Garden of Eden, we meet Jesus.
Okay, this is where the game tackles what it sees as maybe checklist theology.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It focuses on a parody of Ray Comfort's Jesus, a trope often associated with legalistic evangelism. Jesus engages in the Ten Commandments routine. Did you ever steal? Did you ever look at a woman with lust?
Right, that kind of thing.
So the player, who's just slaying cosmic gods and navigated all these philosophical paradoxes, is confronted not by revelation, but by this legalistic script designed to instill guilt.
The implied message being, is this kind of administrative checklist really sufficient to fill the spirit after everything you've been through?
Exactly. And there's even an option, if you're playing the female character, to attempt to date him and have his baby. Yeah, the creator offended it as simply humanizing Christ. A consensual encounter, apparently not a big plot point. But the ultimate joke might be reserved for the prophet of law himself, Moses.
Where's Moses in all this?
Moses is found in paradise, in a utopian building, surrounded by girls in bikinis dancing.
So the prophet of law has retired into hedonism.
Basically, yeah. The law is abandoned, the gospel is reduced to an administrative checklist. It's satire.
And the creator was very clear, this isn't meant to mock faith itself.
No, rather to critique the systemic human conceptions of God. They're railing against the systems that surround belief, not belief itself.
It's the ultimate statement that when the holy gets systematized and labeled, it becomes sterile and absurd.
Exactly. The game is saying the antidote to God is in every drop of water. It might be a literal man you can talk to, and maybe he's just a terrible bureaucrat.
Okay, let's pivot away from cosmic gods and bureaucratic heavens to what the creator explicitly calls the most important quest in the game, the Mango Mom questline. This sounds different.
It stands in stark contrast to, well, everything else we've discussed. It's only accessible if you're playing as the female protagonist, Rabbit.
Rabbit. Okay.
Mango Mom, another absurd name, asks the player to retrieve her mango, named Sally, from her husband, Herman.
Right. We go from killing a 1,000-foot-tall god to mediating a custody battle over a piece of fruit named Sally.
That's the genius of it. The mango is revealed to represent their child. One parent wants to name her Sally, the other Calvin. There's a mention of Fort Calvin. Herman ran away with the child, the mango, after Mango Mom apparently brought a knife into an argument.
Whoa, okay, so it's a raw, pretty messy domestic squabble.
Very much so. And in a world filled with cosmic violence and high-stakes existential dread, the path to reconciliation here is incredibly fragile.
How so?
To mend things, the player has to bring roses to Mango Mom. But crucially, they must say that the husband, Herman, sent them, if the player takes any credit for this act of kindness.
Let me guess, it fails.
Mango Mom gets angry. The conversation ends. Quest failed. It requires an act of pure, selfless empathy and humility to achieve peace. You have to lie, essentially, for the greater good.
That's fascinating. And the creator called this domestic squabble the only truly winnable battle in the game.
Explicitly. It's a quiet, personal, profoundly parental drama hidden deep in the code.
Wow.
And this choice, it's deeply personal for the creator. The sources reveal this quest reflects his own hope for his 4-year-old son whom he has never met.
Ah, okay. That adds another layer entirely.
It does. The collapse of the small divine unit. The family mirrors the collapse of the cosmic order. The game grounds its spiritual crisis not just in the void left by God, but in the chaos of a failed home. And it offers this tiny, fragile human victory as maybe the only real antidote to all that cosmic futility.
So if the gods are corrupt and institutions are futile, maybe progress is found through subversion. Let's look at systems of exploitation. The game often rewards breaking the rules, right?
Definitely. We find this immediately in the cyberpunk district at a place called Cybertronics. Here, salvation is literally commodified.
How literally?
The basic act of saving the game costs 500,000 Maka. Healing costs 1,000,000 Maka.
Maka. Like from Shin Megami Tensei? That fits. But those costs are astronomical.
They are. And the vendor, if you don't have the funds to save, delivers a microaggression, misgendering the player character.
So it connects money, essential game functions, and identity politics into one punishing system.
Exactly. But, like every great system in Luciferianism, it's designed to be broken.
Ah, the exploit. How does that work?
Right. If the player successfully robs Cybertronics, which is presumably very difficult, they gain enough money to buy Rabbit's mansion. Owning the mansion unlocks the Valkyrie character.
The Valkyrie?
Yeah, who has infinite jumping. This newfound ability lets the player immediately find a hidden shortcut, a red mailbox with a yellow apple inside, which leads them straight to heaven, bypassing tons of required content.
So a path to transcendence bought with blood money and a system exploit.
It's the ultimate cyber-theological statement. Crime pays for salvation.
That subversive logic applies even to spiritual guides then. You mentioned the Buddha earlier.
Yes, the Buddha, found sitting on a literal cloud. He's apparently reincarnated, which already contradicts his past teachings on breaking the cycle of rebirth. And he asks the player to kill God, giving them that gun we mentioned. He's actively encouraging violence.
So the path to enlightenment is now through assassination and abandoning the cycle of suffering. The game ensures even supposedly transcendent figures get corrupted by the system's need for conflict.
Pretty much. But if we look for sincerity again, like with the Mango Mom quest, we find it in maybe the most haunting element of the game. It's in Ra's tomb, in the Egyptian district.
This involves the Imric enemies. This is where it gets really personal for the creator, right? Real-world grief.
It really does. These are incredibly powerful enemies. They kick you to desktop in a single hit.
They just crash the game.
Literally terminate the program, end your session. I'm sorting there. Rick was apparently a real internet commenter who the creator knew online and believes died of cancer.
Oh.
So a figure from the creator's real-life internet history becomes the physical embodiment of sudden, non-diegetic absence within the game world. It's a stark reminder that death isn't just a game mechanic. Sometimes the game just ends abruptly.
And what do you gain for getting past this temple of genuine remembrance? Is there loot?
The reward for passing through the temple and facing these ultimate termination enemies is a non-functional item found in the loot bag. A stuffed doll for a brave man.
A stuffed doll, that does nothing.
Nothing in terms of gameplay. It's a relic without function, a memorial that resists gamification. It's just a quiet, powerful gesture of remembrance for a real person that completely defies the game's usual logic of loot and progress.
This game really is something else. A museum of fallen worlds and contradictory dreams. You called it a post-religious pilgrimage simulator?
I think that fits. It's built on the idea that every institution will fail, every cosmic pursuit leads to an empty void. The player's agency infects the gods, turning them into bureaucrats and assassins.
The entire structure seems built to reflect the player's own confusion and contradictions.
Which I think ultimately encapsulates the creator's key philosophical statement about the whole endeavor.
Which is?
Religion is an absurdity, but that doesn't mean it can't be wonderful.
Yeah, that's quite a summary.
It's elegant, right?
Yeah.
It recognizes that belief is maybe logically impossible, but also culturally, emotionally necessary.
Right.
The absurdity isn't a flaw. It's the doorway to genuine human wonder and connection, even amidst all the satire and darkness.
So we leave you, the listener, with this final provocative thought. In a game where every god, hero, and villain is part of a script, and every cosmic ending leads only to futility and a reset, is the true act of spiritual rebellion in Luciferianism the choice to embrace the struggle, the absurdity, the contradiction, or is it simply the choice to exit the game entirely?
And maybe more relevant to your immediate moral compass, perhaps. What does your conscience tell you to do with the mango?
Yeah, I'm Rick. Rick was a guy I knew. He was in the Scott Adams, Coffee with Scott Adams, comments section. You couldn't fart on that fucking thing without I'm Rick replying and responding to you. He was talking to everyone. He was talking I forget the other names. But yeah, if you were commenting there, you saw I'm Rick. And the only thing that they were saying, like, they were acting like this game is a memorial to I'm Rick, and that it's a message about I'm Rick precisely. No, at the time this game was released, as I stated in the thing, I'm Rick was still alive. What was weird was, like, 2-3 months after that, we find out Scott Adams has been dying for a long time, and around the time that Scott Adams is announcing he's dying, and there's all this drama on this, I'm Rick just sort of mentions, like, yeah, guys, I got cancer too. I'm going to die. I only got a couple weeks. Something like that. So maybe I got taken for a ride by some internet troll who just did the ultimate loop. But I'm pretty sure I'm Rick is dead. I hate to laugh, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm Rick is dead. And he's, well, anyway, he's immortalized as the enemies in this game. You'll find them in the Egyptian zone. You'll also find one of them in a strip club. You can go to the strip club and there's an I'm Rick enemy in the bathroom, killing everybody. You don't try to rescue them. He'll kick you out of the world, man. Alright, bye.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're strapping on our philosophical armor, you could say, and diving into something really unique. The video game Luciferianism.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard about this one. It's not just another RPG. It's theology, psychology, a whole custom cosmology, all rolled into this huge piece of playable satire.
That's a great way to put it. We've got a stack of sources here describing it less as just a game and more like a strange religious poem in game form.
Right.
So our mission today is really to figure out how it blends these really demanding mechanics. We're talking roguelike difficulty, souls-like world design with, well, high theology and internet culture. It's a wild mix.
Exactly. We want to unpack all that, pull out the core ideas, maybe find the sincerity hidden in all the absurdity, and look at the creator's argument that you can, I guess, build a new religion, or at least critique old ones, through gameplay itself.
Okay, so high level.
Yeah.
The game calls itself a roguelike, souls-like, open-world RPG set in a labyrinthine maze of artifice.
Breaking that down a bit, roguelike means tough. Lots of replayability. Souls-like means challenging combat, environmental storytelling, right?
Exactly. And the scale is just immense. Almost 300 levels. Temples, cyberpunk cities, everything. And get this, every voice line is AI generated. Elevenlabs AI Voice Robots.
Wow. The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And the philosophical anchor, as you said, it's huge. It's framed explicitly as a philosophical commentary on Nietzsche's Death of God.
And the creator isn't pulling any punches with his claims either. He says the game is the source for the Luciferian Testament. He's the authority on it.
It's a bold claim for a game developer. He's basically saying that playing the game, figuring out its mechanics, is studying his religion. And he had this strong opinion on freedom of reach, too, compared trying to restrict his game online to stopping George Washington from distributing pamphlets.
Okay, so positioning the game itself is this fundamental, almost revolutionary text.
Pretty much. It sets the stage perfectly for a world where, every authority, spiritual or even just mechanical, is meant to be questioned.
Okay, so let's dive into this labyrinth, starting right at the beginning of the first screen.
Yeah, the setting itself is the first clue. This labyrinthine maze of artifice. It screams constructed reality, right? Taps right into simulation theory vibes. You're not in nature, you're in a script.
A conscious script.
Yeah.
And that feeling seems to bleed right into the user interface, the menu itself, turning clicks into something existential.
That's exactly it. The UI is where the theology, maybe predestination, really hits you. You go to start, and there's no start game button. It just says, fool.
It insults you. Right away.
Right away. Click it, and it says you have to give up your soul to play, yes or no. The menu becomes an altar. It's a spiritual transaction just to get in.
That's intense. What if you change your mind?
Try to go back to the menu after starting. The game says, I already took your soul. Why not just end it? And the final kicker. Try to quit the game entirely. And it prompts, you'll die if you quit the game.
So the menu, usually the safe space, is now spiritually loaded. Dangerous, even. It makes you think about your own agency, doesn't it, within this seemingly fixed system?
Absolutely. It's asking, if you're already fated to be here, what does your choice really mean?
Right.
And this idea of cosmic futility, it really comes to a head with the main objective, killing God. The game mechanics push you towards it.
And God isn't just a concept here. He's an actual boss.
Oh, yeah. A big, red, towering man standing 1,000 feet tall, huge HP bar, like almost maxed out. The ultimate boss.
How do you even fight that?
Well, that's the irony. Only one weapon works. Buddha's gun, or apparently Captain Hook's gun.
Buddha's gun. Or Captain Hook's. So you need either Eastern spirituality or, pirate anarchy to kill Western divinity. That's absurd.
It forces you down this ridiculous path to commit deicide. But here's the twist, the commentary on Nietzsche's void. Yeah. What happens after you kill God?
All right, what's the consequence? Fire and brimstone. Nope. You're immediately teleported to a dark, nighttime version of the kingdom of God. And our sources stress this. There's no escape, no objectives, just silence, emptiness.
Nothing happens. You just exist there.
Until you're forced to restart, go back to the main menu. The ultimate victory loops you right back to that initial soul transaction.
Wow. So the punishment isn't hellfire, it's just absent.
Exactly. It literalizes Nietzsche's warning. You kill the source of meaning and you get the void. You have to start the loop again. It really messes with the whole point of a roguelike, which is usually progress, mastery.
But the ultimate goal here is just futility. It forces you to rethink what progress even is in this world.
If the big picture is futile, maybe the small details matter more.
Okay, let's shift from killing God to, how the game handles actual religious institutions. Organized hypocrisy, maybe?
Yeah, a perfect example is in the Rose Quarter, big Gothic cathedral. You meet the lady. She talks about purity. I am the water. The water purifies. Sounds very, holy.
But I'm guessing there's a catch. Always. Below the cathedral, in the dungeons, it gets dark. Guards are holding women in cages.
In cages.
Wearing swimsuits, the sources specify. And the guards are giving speeches based on, and this is a direct quote from the creator, red pill MRA dating manifesto stuff.
Oh, wow. So misogynistic talking points about power and pity being the worst vice. while the figurehead preaches purity upstairs.
Exactly. It's stark. The institution's shiny surface hiding this cold, cruel philosophy.
So what can the player do? Can you intervene?
You can. You can fight the guard, free the women, or just leave. But here's the thing. The game explicitly says the choice yields no gain or benefit.
Nothing. No XP, no items, no story change.
Zero. It makes the moral choice feel completely futile. It's a critique of how human systems twist belief, right? Using purity to justify corruption.
Okay, from cathedral dungeons, let's go to heaven. You get there after a quest involving Sophia. I heard the creator wrote that part on election day, and Sophia actually says, well, I won that election.
That's right. And heaven itself, it's described as pristine, but almost sterile. Gigantic white buildings, perfect green grass, everything labeled obsessively. Kingdom of heaven, Garden of Eden, paradise.
Like a divine bureaucracy.
Totally. And in the Garden of Eden, you meet Jesus. But it's a specific kind of Jesus.
That checklist theology part.
Yeah, the game calls it a satire of Ray Comfort's Jesus, that sort of legalistic approach. Jesus does the Ten Commandments routine. You know, did you ever steal? Ever look at a woman with lust?
So after battling gods and navigating paradoxes, you get a guilt trip checklist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The game asks, is this enough to fill the spirit after everything you've been through? There's even an option, if you're playing the female character, to try and date him, have his baby.
Right.
The creator defended it as just humanizing him.
Okay. And Moses, what's the prophet of law up to?
Moses is in paradise, in a utopian building filled with girls in bikinis dancing.
Law retired into hedonism. Brilliant.
The law's abandoned, the gospel's a checklist. But the creator insists it's not mocking faith itself.
Right. It's the human systems, the human conceptions of God that are being satirized.
Exactly. It's like the antidote to seeing God everywhere is seeing him as this literal, maybe slightly disappointing bureaucrat you can talk to. When you systematize the holy, it becomes absurd.
Okay. Moving away from the grand scale again. You mentioned the creator called one quest the most important quest in the game, the Mango Mom quest. Let's talk about that. It sounds totally different.
It really is. It's the quiet heart, maybe. Only accessible if you're playing as Rabbit, the female character. You meet Mango Mom, the name, and she asks you to get her mango, named Sally, back from her husband, Herman.
Wait, her mango, named Sally. We're going from killing God to fetching fruit.
That's the beauty of it. It turns out the mango represents their child. One parent wants to name the child Sally, the other Calvin, hence Fort Calvin, where Herman is. He ran off with the kid, or Mango, after Mango Mom apparently pulled a knife during an argument.
Whoa. Okay, so it's a really raw, messy custody dispute hidden in this absurd setup.
Exactly. And in a game full of cosmic stakes and futility, this quest has a path to actual reconciliation. But it's incredibly fragile.
How do you resolve it?
You have to bring roses to Mango Mom, but crucially, you must say Herman sent them. If you take credit, even slightly.
She gets angry.
Yeah, conversation over, quest failed. It demands total selflessness, pure empathy, no ego involved.
And the creator called this the only truly winnable battle in the game. This small domestic drama.
Yeah, it's quiet, personal, deeply parental. And the sources say it connects to the creator's own life, his hope for his son. It's like the collapse of the family mirrors the cosmic collapse.
So the spiritual crisis isn't just Nietzsche's void, it's also the breakdown of the home. And the only real victory is a small human act of kindness.
Seems to be the message, a fragile human hope against all the absurdity.
If the big systems are corrupt or futile, maybe progress comes from breaking them. Let's look at exploitation, because it sounds like the game sometimes rewards you for doing bad things.
Oh, definitely. Look at the cyberpunk district, the shop Cybertronics. Salvation itself is for sale. Saving the game costs 500,000 Maca. Healing costs $1 million.
Maca, like from Shin Megami Tensei, another series heavy on theology and demons, but those costs are insane.
Astronomical. And if you can't afford to save, the vendor hits you with a microaggression, misgenders the player character. It ties money, basic game function, and identity politics into one nasty knot.
Grim. But you said these systems are meant to be broken.
Absolutely. There's an exploit. If you manage to rob Cybertronics, you get enough money to buy Rabbit's mansion.
Okay.
Buying the mansion unlocks the Valkyrie character, and Valkyrie has infinite jumping.
Infinite jumping, right. So you can get anywhere.
Pretty much. And you can find a hidden shortcut, a red mailbox with a yellow apple inside that takes you straight to heaven. Way early. Bypassing tons of content.
So a path to heaven bought with stolen money, using an exploit unlocked by that money, crime literally pays for salvation.
That's the cyber-theological statement, yeah. Subversion is rewarded. Even spiritual guides are compromised. We mentioned Buddha earlier.
Right, sitting on a cloud gives you a gun to kill God.
Yeah, he's reincarnated, which contradicts his own teachings about escaping rebirth. And he's encouraging violence. The supposed path to enlightenment is now assassination and abandoning core tenets. Everyone gets dragged into the system's conflict logic.
Is there any sincerity left anywhere, besides maybe the Mango Quest?
There is, but it's haunting. It's in Rai's tomb, the Egyptian area. The enemy is called Imric.
Ah, this is the part that connects to a real person.
Yeah. These enemies are brutal. One hit, and they kick you to desktop. Literally terminate the program. Your session just ends.
Like a real-world death intruding on the game world.
Exactly. Imric was a real internet commenter the creator knew or knew of, who he believes died of cancer. So this figure from his online life becomes this agent of sudden, total, non-game world abscess within the game.
It reminds you death isn't just a mechanic sometimes.
Right. And the reward for getting past these enemies, for facing this reminder of real loss, it's not some powerful gear.
What is it?
In the loot bag, you find a non-functional item, a stuffed doll for a brave man. It does nothing in the game. It's just a memorial, a gesture of remembrance that completely resists being gamified.
Wow. A quiet tribute amidst all the chaos.
It's powerful because it's not part of the game's systems of progress or exploitation.
This whole game sounds like a post-religious pilgrimage simulator, maybe. A cosmology wearing a trench coat. Everything is designed to contradict itself, to reflect the player's own confusion.
Yeah, your agency messes everything up. Gods become bureaucrats. Saviors become assassins. The whole thing seems built to embody the creator's main philosophical takeaway.
Which he stated as.
Religion is an absurdity. But that doesn't mean it can't be wonderful.
That sums it up pretty well, doesn't it? Acknowledging the logical knots, but also the human need for wonder, for connection, even within that absurdity.
The absurdity isn't a bug, it's a feature. Maybe the feature.
So we'll leave you, the listener, with this thought to chew on. In a game where gods fail, heroes compromise, and the ultimate cosmic goal leads back to square one, what's the real act of rebellion in Luciferianism? Is it pushing through the absurdity, embracing the struggle? Or is it just quitting the game, walking away from the maze?
And maybe more immediately, thinking about that Mango Mom quest. What does your gut, your conscience tell you to do with the mango?
Yeah, I'm Rick. Rick was a guy I knew. He was in the Scott Adams, Coffee with Scott Adams comments section. You couldn't fart on that fucking thing without I'm Rick replying and responding to you. He was talking to everyone. He was talking I forget the other names. But yeah, if you were commenting there, you saw I'm Rick. And the only thing that they were saying, like, they were acting like this game is a memorial to I'm Rick, and that it's a message about I'm Rick precisely. No, at the time this game was released, as I stated in the thing, I'm Rick was still alive. What was weird was, 2-3 months after that, we find out Scott Adams has been dying for a long time, and around the time that Scott Adams is announcing he's dying, and there's all this drama on this, I'm Rick just sort of mentions, yeah, guys, I got cancer too. I'm gonna die. I only got a couple weeks. Something like that. So maybe I got taken for a ride by some internet troll who just did the ultimate loop. But I'm pretty sure I'm Rick is dead. I hate to laugh, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm Rick is dead. And he's immortalized as the enemies in this game. You'll find them in the Egyptian zone. You'll also find one of them in a strip club. You can go to the strip club and there's an I'm Rick enemy in the bathroom, killing everybody. You don't try to rescue them; he'll kick you out of the world, man. All right, bye.